Okay, so your rib closures, your arm raises, they are to not just to strengthen up your body, but to teach your belly that it needs to do something, even when you're just waving your arms around. What happens quite often when people are lifting their arms is that their rib cage lifts with them. So instead of moving through your shoulder joint, your rib cage pops out. So from the side, let's kneel up a little bit, from the side, instead of just getting that when you lift your arm, you get that, which if you've got anything going on with your lower back doesn't feel great. So your rib closures are there to do exactly what it sounds like, to close your ribs off, to make your rib cage tiny. So that is a really good cue. You want to make your rib cage feel small, make it feel heavy, so that when you're down in the mat, we're not lifting the rib cage up towards the ceiling, we're thinking of pulling it down into the mat. And we don't do that by tilting your hips, we do it by just tightening the tummy so you feel the lift up and the pull down with your rib cage, so that last rib feels heavy and your ribs feel almost like they're attached to your hips, which is what's happening because your obliques are working to pull them down. So keep that tummy working, and as you reach your arms back, we're going to only go back as far as you can before that rib cage wants to lift away from the mat. If it lifts, you'll have a big arch underneath and it might not feel comfortable for your lower back, and we want to teach your brain what's acceptable, teach your body what's acceptable. So we get your rib cage nice and small, your belly's lifted in, your rib cage is pushed down, lift your arms all the way back, stretch back, and we go as far as you can before that rib cage wants to lift, and then tighten your tummy a little bit more to lift back to the ceiling. So it's really straightforward, doesn't look like you're doing a fat lot, but that belly should be tight enough for me to come and stand on it, because you never know, we might do one of these sessions. So really tighten it up and reach back. And you can do as many of these as you want. It's a nice gentle strengthener. It's also a really good stretch for your lats, which is great for your posture. And we just reach back. Extra little bit of work to help float your arms back to the ceiling. And we just work through there. So you also asked about the little bit of seated swan, the little squeeze back and the push down. So I'm going to turn around and do it from the back. So you want to make sure that when you squeeze your shoulder blades together, so if you have your arms there, when you squeeze your shoulder blades together, we want to make sure that you don't squeeze them and lift them up. Alright, your shoulders are not earrings, they want to be as far away from your ears as you can get them. So hands want to be level with your ears. We squeeze back like you're trying to squeeze a pencil between your shoulder blades, and then push down into your back pockets. So we're depressing your scapula, we're squeezing and depressing your scapula. And again, it's not a massive movement. It might be that you think of it more as widening your collarbones. So from the front it looks like you're widening your collarbones and pushing down. Or it might be that you focus on that squeezing the pencil and pushing it down. But what you want to do is use a little bit of the rib closure that you've just done. Because if you don't use anything with your belly when you're doing your little squeeze, you'll thrust that rib cage out and arch your back, which means all you're doing is arching your back and you're not actually using the muscles underneath your shoulder blades and between them as hard as you should be. So we're going to sit tall, you're going to pull that belly in and up. Imagine you're doing a rib closure against the floor. So that rib cage is pulling down towards your hips, arms where they need to be, and then when you squeeze back with the shoulder blades and push down, you don't get that arch. Okay, this is solid, we're just waving your arms around. Okay, so whatever you're doing, doesn't matter what you're moving, that belly is your stabilizer, that is your core. You need to use that to pin everything in. Once you've got your belly working, you can wave around whatever you want, but you need to get the belly working first, which is why all these exercises are nice and small, not necessarily easy to isolate the muscles, but once you've got it, you're laughing. So focus on it, Maybe do your rib closures first, get yourself down on the floor, or even do them seated. You can do them seated and standing, remember. So do your rib closures first so that you can get that belly geared up, so that when you do your little squeezes, you've already got it working and you're not allowing your rib cage to flare out. So rib closures, then your shoulder squeezes. Good luck.